Toyota has been dragged kicking and screaming into the battery electric car game, and when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that Toyota would be so reluctant. I mean, consider Toyota. It is a global, full-line automaker, and not all those countries have the infrastructure required to make battery electric cars work. The charging stations, and of course, battery electric cars are much heavier than a typical internal combustion engine car, and they require all sorts of rare earth minerals and more common minerals like copper. They're heavier and buyers are reluctant to pay the cost premium. So if you're Toyota, you look at the battery electric model and think to yourself, this just doesn't make sense. Why don't we go to the bridge technology, which is hybrids? Toyota started hybrids in 1997, and if you buy a typical Toyota Prius, for example, you cut your emissions by about 50% and you increase your fuel economy by 50–60%. So for Toyota, a logical thinking car company that sells all over the world and all sorts of models, the hybrid makes sense. However, that's not the way the world is working now. Governments all over the world are mandating battery electric vehicles, which means Toyota has to make them. And that includes the Lexus brand, and that brings me to this model here. This is the Lexus RZ450e, or if you're an American, the RZ450e. And this is the first Lexus all-electric battery vehicle. And right off the bat, I can tell you that it does have some drawbacks that reflect the fact that Toyota has been dragged kicking and screaming into the battery electric market. Range for this rig with the 18-inch wheels, just 350 or so kilometers. This is the most expensive version, more than $80,000 with the 20-inch wheels. And in my testing, I've been barely able to creep past 300 kilometers of range. Of course, if Toyota is going to sell a global range of battery electric vehicles, it needs a battery electric platform, an architecture, and that's what's underneath this Lexus. A platform that is shared with other Toyota models, and more still will spring from this architecture. It's not what I would call a groundbreaking architecture. The horsepower here, the combined horsepower, is around 308. Your 0 to 100 kilometer a time, probably about 6.5 seconds. But I will tell you, when you dip your foot into the throttle, it's instant. The responses are instant. All-wheel drive is standard. It's biased towards the front wheels. And the overall quiet ride is really quite delightful. The real challenge here is range. This has about half the range of some of the best battery electric vehicles out there in the marketplace. And yet, as you see it here, this top of the line RZ is more than $80,000. I think for some buyers, that may be a bridge, well, a bridge they can't cross. Let me dig into a few other details. This tester is the two-tone copper crest black onyx roof model that's available only for the luxury and ultimate or executive grade models. It's a terrific design combination. As for charging, the RZ can be plugged into a level 1 120 volt AC 3-prong charger. For faster charging, you can plug into a 240 volt level 2 or a fast charging level 3 480 volt. The DC charging system will get you from about 10% to 80% in something around 40 to 45 minutes. What I do like about the RZ is what I like about every Toyota and Lexus model: the execution. The build quality here is outstanding. As you go through the interior, all the seams are delightfully tight, and the overall execution of the technology is simple, straightforward, and very user-friendly. The center screen is 14 inches, which is not huge by today's standards, but it's adequate. The 7-inch gauge cluster, again, not huge, but it works. And overall, everything is displayed in a very user-friendly way. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless compatibility, which is excellent too. And the overall package presents itself as a very typical Toyota and Lexus model. Reliable, simple to operate, very comfortable to live with, and really well built. The power output is split 150 kilowatts to the front and 80 kilowatts to the rear, and that translates to a combined 308 horsepower, and 320 pound-feet of torque. Lexus includes what it calls the direct 4 all-wheel drive system that controls the front and rear drive force depending on the road surfaces and the road conditions. Obviously, there's no gas engine under here, so you don't need a grille. Instead, you get this very bold Lexus face, integrated headlights, which are very sharp, and the overall package is quite aerodynamic. This is a very athletic looking design, just terrific. The big 20-inch wheels, they certainly fill up the wheel wells, and the overall package then has a bit of style that you don't always get in many of the smoother looking EVs that are out there in the marketplace. If you like a few creases, a few corners, a few curves, this Lexus might appeal to your design aesthetic more than some of the other models that are out there. And as you approach the rear, well, my goodness, these haunches are big and bold. The idea here, obviously from the designers, is to present a look that looks powerful and athletic and planted. From the driver's seat, everything is about where it should be. The steering wheel is thick, there are paddles for shifting, the 14-inch touchscreen is located right here, tilted just slightly towards the driver for better visibility. The instrument cluster reads nicely. This Ultimate model, well, this one has the head-up display, which is very sharp, very easy to read. The cabin also includes a dual-zone independent automatic climate control system. Everyone will be comfortable no matter the weather. You also get a wireless charging dock for smartphones, 5 USB-C charging ports, and the Lexus Smart Key system with push-button start. Each model also comes with its own grade-specific ambient lighting. That means you can change the look depending on how much you're willing to spend. But I'll tell you, as you sit here, I think to myself, there is an unending blackness to the thing. And yes, it's got very nice features like the 13-speaker Mark Levinson stereo system. You can punch up various drive modes from eco to sport to change the dynamics of the vehicle. The seats are nicely padded. In this model, they're heated and ventilated. And all of it is really well executed. Their panel gaps are nice and tight. The materials are well made. But there's nothing here that absolutely jumps out at me and screams to me, wow, this is the Lexus electric vehicle we've all been waiting for. And back here at the very rear, a lot is going on. And by the way, of course, it's got the typical power-operated tailgate, and you can kick it and open it up there. There's a decent-sized cargo space back here. I have a couple of my duffel bags here. It's not overly large, but it's certainly adequate. The 71.4 kilowatt-hour battery is mounted low in the platform, and that keeps the center of gravity low, which means driving this rig is really very pleasant. It feels planted, it feels solid, it corners and cuts apexes like a slightly tall sports car. Lexus sells 3 versions of the RZ, starting at around 65 grand and ranging up to the mid-80s or so. Some of these models qualify for various government incentives, but you'll need to check both the provincial and the federal websites to keep track of what has now become a moving target when it comes to incentives. Now, why would you buy an RZ over, say, an Audi or a Porsche or a Tesla? Well, it starts with the brand. Lexus has the brand equity of reliability, durability, customer service, good dealer service, those kinds of things, and that is a key reason why buyers choose to go Lexus. And if you buy this vehicle, you are not going to get the range or the super crazy high performance that you will get with the more established EV makers, starting with Tesla, but now also including Mercedes-Benz, Audi, BMW, and others. I would consider this vehicle if I did not have long drives to take, because I think the range is a real limiting factor. And I also think Lexus needs to tidy up, or dress up, I should say, the interior. So when I'm sitting in this vehicle, I think to myself, yep, this is worth $85,000. Thanks for watching. I'm Jeremy Cato, and this is CatoCarGuy.com. We'll see you next time.